we are going to be reading an article. It's kind of anti-Krunker, and it's just ridiculous as shit. I feel like we just have to take a look at it as a stream, go over it, see what we think about it as Krunker players, and see if we can't maybe give a little context to what's going on and how we see it as opposed to the way that they see it. I think that'd be fun. I wanted to show you guys this. It came out a little while ago. I wanted to show you guys like pretty much as soon as I saw it, but I kind of forgot about it, and here we are. So the article is written by a website called FamilyZone.com, and apparently it's an Australian publication. The title of this is "Krunker has landed, and it's got our kids in the crosshairs." I mean, you can't make this up, Like, that's what the title of the article is. So let's dive in, shall we? Krunker has landed, and it's got our kids in the crosshairs. So let's just kind of dissect this bit by bit, okay? The image is, it's just random image of, I love how they've blurred out the names. I actually didn't notice that until just now. Like, they very clearly just pixelated out people's usernames. They did it over here too, which I think is really funny. Like, they're trying to protect the privacy of people's random usernames. Maybe they deemed them all inappropriate. I really don't know. But I think that's really great that they did that. That's a funny little detail. Move over, Fortnite. There's a new free-for-all game that's blowing up in schools and homes all over Australia. Think Call of Duty style first-person shooter with a Roblox-like aesthetic that anybody can play free in their browser on almost any device, no downloads required. Now, overall, that kind of sounds sweet. Oh, they made it sound kind of sick, if I'm being real. They compared it to Fortnite. They compared it to Call of Duty. These are really popular, really well-made games, and with much bigger development teams than Krunker. And then they said Roblox-like aesthetic, which, fair enough. It is mildly similar, but I think it's it'd be a much more direct allegory to say Minecraft, because they're trying to scare parents with little kids, right? Who might play this game. And if they play Roblox, then you're going to be hooked in. You're going to be like, oh, my son plays Roblox. Oh, he might get hooked into this. Oh, shit. I think that's sort of what they're trying to do by saying that. But hey, maybe they're just not educated, massive brain gamers such as myself. Also a possibility. So gamers are loving Krunker.io for its fast and furious pace and funky graphics. Parents and teachers, not so much. I like that. Parents and teachers, not so much. They are less so enjoying the funky graphics and the fast and furious gameplay. They're not so much enjoying that. The gamers are loving it, though. The gamers are like, ooh. Oh my god. Oh, shit. Oh. Gamers are pogging out of their minds, actually. But parents and teachers, no. They're not into it so much. Why you should worry. I love that. I love why you should worry. Why you should worry. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it. It's just blatant. It's just blatant, fear mongering. They just say, worry about this. Just worry about it. Do it. You think you've got things to worry about? You've got Krunker.io to worry about, bitch. Worry about it. Also, Larry, I can handle the reacting, my guy. You don't you don't need to give me stage notes. Why you should worry. It's all about gun violence. Well, duh, it's a first-person shooter after all. Krunker.io players can choose to arm themselves with assault rifles, rocket launchers, revolvers, light machine guns, and pretty much everything in between. So again, I kind of feel like that sounds pretty sick. It's gunplay. It's gunplay with fast movement, and you can play with assault rifles, rocket launchers, revolvers, light machine guns, and pretty much everything in between, which includes, you can throw knives at people, you can do fucking shotgun jumps into the air and then spin around and fucking no-scope somebody, or toss a knife across the map and just fucking lob somebody in the side of the head. It's badass. It's pretty sick, actually. It's they're not doing a good job of selling me against it. I mean, kids love that shit, right? Like, I love that shit. I imagine that kids also love that shit. Am I wrong? Is that the danger? Is that they like it? They're doing something they like? What's the danger? Well, it features chat with adult strangers. What's inherently wrong with that? I understand that kids at a certain age, you might not want them to see certain things. Maybe you don't want them to have to contextualize curse words at the age that they're at. But if that's the case, then don't let them play. It's that simple. Just don't let them. Say no. There were tons of things that my mom would not let me play, or my dad would not let me do, or whatever, like when I was a kid, like they wouldn't just let me do whatever I wanted. Like they wouldn't just turn a blind eye to the things that I was into, because they need to know at least a little bit about it to know if it's like an okay thing for me to be into when I'm a little kid. You got to monitor what your kids do on the internet if they're at a young, impressionable age. That's just it. So what? Why is that? That's not the game's fault. The game is not targeting your children, as the title of the article implies. It is not trying to like hook your kid into a dangerous lifestyle because he's going to see curse words in a game chat. I don't really pay attention to game chat. You can turn it off too. You could let them play, but then just turn the game chat off. Do that. If you're fine with the gunplay and the Fast and Furious gameplay, dude, the Fast and Furious gameplay, if you're fine with that, but you don't want them chatting with adult strangers, which, by the way, a lot of them are also other kids, so it's like, that's any game with a chat. Like, you understand that, like, that's the internet. Because it's a website, and they're like saying like, oh, like they can just go on a browser. They don't even have to download anything. It's so accessible for them to chat with adult strangers. And it's like, that's literally anywhere on the internet. If you're not monitoring what your kid does on the internet, guess what? A lot of people use the internet. Some of them are people your kid does not know, and people that are over the age of 18, aka adult strangers. That is a thing. I hate to break it to you, but you're on the internet reading this dumbass article. You obviously understand that adults use the internet, and that's a thing. Okay, just making sure, because it seemed like this is news. Okay, so, and then they back it up with, and like all such games, abusive, offensive, or just plain aggro voices around. Turn it off. Maybe I know some of you are not gamers like me, but you can turn it off. You can go into the settings and just turn the voice thing off. Bam, problem solved. Features chat with adult strangers. Either learn that your kid is gonna make friends that on the internet, and he's old enough to do that, and be safe about it. Or 2, don't let them play, and actually be a parent and monitor what your kid does on the internet. 3, turn the voice chat off if you're fine with them playing the game, but you don't want them to have voice chat. Easy, solved. Number 1 problem, dismiss. Poof. dealt with. It's free till it's not. It's just actually free. It's literally a free game. Are there in-game purchases in the form of in-game currency? Yes. But you don't even need to purchase it to get the in-game currency. I've literally never purchased it, and people are gobsmacked at the amount of KR I have. I give it away to my chat all the time. I spend it on skins. I, do whatever. And all I do is play the game. I don't even buy the KR. That and all of it is cosmetic for cosmetic shit anyway. It doesn't even make you better at the game. Also, unless your kid has a job, in which case you should probably not be worried about the fact that they're playing Krunker, because they're in the real world at that point and they've got bigger things to worry about and digest. So you better be prepared for those things. But if they don't have a job and they don't have a way of making money, and you don't just frivolously give them your credit card and be like, yeah, do whatever you want with that, then how are they even going to buy it? They can't buy it. So developers do not release free games out of the goodness of their hearts. They do it for one reason only: to make money through their in-app purchases. That's how Fortnite, other free game, managed to earn US 2.5 billion last year. Okay. Yeah. Some people decide to pay for the in-app thing. Even though it's not necessary, some people decide to do that. That's fine. It's for Fortnite's popular game, 2.5 billion. Again, it's kind of flattering that it's even being compared. I really dislike how they're trying to make it seem like the developers are just scumbags who are trying to scam kids. And it's I've seen that game. There are apps and games that are pretty much designed to just scam kids and old people into paying for things without really realizing that they're paying for things. This is not that. It's very clear. It's very stated in a very direct manner, and you can't buy it if you're a little kid unless the parent buys it for you. So it doesn't make any goddamn sense to me why this is even a problem. They can't leverage this into for manipulation. I'm not saying that you can't do this in this format, period, but in this case, same thing with Fortnite. I don't think Fortnite would have the popularity that it had if it got a really bad rap for basically just being a scam for kids. Oh, they don't release a free game out of the goodness of their hearts. There are companies out there, EA, that would release a game, a full price game at $70 to $80, and then they would have you then also have in-game purchases that are even more egregious than that. They sell you half of a game, and then to finish the game you have to pay more money. That is pretty scummy, and people are fine with that with those companies. Most people complain about it, but they still buy their shit. Whereas the Krunker devs released a free game. They're constantly supporting the community that plays it through means of either fiscally or getting new user-made content out there, getting creative content out there, any kind of in-game developments. They're just constantly working on it, and it's such a small team of people. And yeah, they leave the option for you to give them money for a little extra in the game, and not extra in a way that's unfair. I really don't see that as ethically compromising or anything at all. So it really bums me out that they went that route specifically. Right? Yeah. No, the devs. I've seen nothing but good shit from them. They seem really just honest guys who care about this project that they made. Credit card thing, dismissed. Free till it's not, dismissed. It's all about gun violence, dismissed. Features chat with strangers, dismissed. This game also features sneaky embedded ads, none of which can be turned off with an ad blocker. That's actually not true. That's not true. The thing is I get the feeling with a lot of these things that they're saying is that they just don't know enough about computers and the internet and things like that to really be making these assertions. A lot of them can be blocked. The ads that actually show up on the screen, if you use an ad blocker, those can be blocked. I'm not saying every ad blocker will effectively do so, but for instance, if I'm not even going to promote what will do that, because I want people to have ads on Krunker just to promote the guys who make it. So I'm just going to say I have personally done so on browser, effectively gotten rid of the on-screen ads in Krunker. So I know for a fact it is doable, but yeah, that was just straight up wrong, and I had to interject there. None of which can be turned off with ad blocker, some of which promote offensive content. The screenshot above shows one such ad, an embedded billboard urging players to subscribe to PewDiePie, a reference to the controversial Swedish YouTuber. I think that's really, I don't know, I just think that's really weird that they dragged PewDiePie into this and referred to him as a controversial YouTuber. Now, I know he got into a little hot water there, and I understand that. Like, I'm not trying to drag that up, but he's overall not a very controversial guy. He's like pretty mainstream for the most part, which is why that the little goof and gaff that he had there, was such a big deal. It's because generally he's not very offensive. It seems weird to just kind of typecast him that way, especially when he's so popular. So I don't feel like you're gonna get very far doing that. Yeah, the offensive content they're referring to is things like subscribe to PewDiePie, which is that's not offensive. If you're offended by that, you're insane. It's not like the game is trying to indoctrinate people into watching PewDiePie because he's offensive and they're trying to like screw over your kids' minds. Like, this is tin hat shit. And if you did a little bit of research, you would know that those billboards are bid on by players, and they're customizable by players, and they customize a billboard, and then they put a bid of in-game currency, the one that you can buy or just get in the game for free. They even have what's called a free KR wheel, for God's sake. Regardless of how you get the KR, you can use the in-game currency to put a bid on that sign, and after a certain period of time, if your bid is the highest, then your billboard goes up in the game. So it's a user-based thing. So somebody was probably just a fan of PewDiePie, was a part of that whole meme of putting subscribe to PewDiePie everywhere, because he was in a battle for the #1 spot with another channel called T-Series. The reason why people got so passionate about it is because T-Series is a corporate channel, whereas PewDiePie, while he has a lot of money and a lot of people around him to help him make his content, surely, he is just an individual YouTuber, which is kind of in the spirit of the website. And so a lot of people got very passionate about that, and that's why people would bid on making a sign like that. So this actually has nothing to do with the devs trying to promote offensive content to children. This is purely that one of those kids likes PewDiePie and bid on a billboard. That's all it is. So PewDiePie comment dismissed. Get out of here, PewDiePie comment. We've dismissed you. We're almost to the end.
Its age verification is non-existent.
Krunker.io's online information for parents states your child should always be honest about his age, and its self-awarded age rating is 8 years old. I don't see this as a reason to be concerned, at least not specifically with Krunker. I can see where somebody would say that it is a cause for concern, but just not with Krunker specifically, because that's the case with just about anywhere. If you go to a porn website, it'll ask you if you're 18. However, you can just lie. And kids lie all the time. I mean, I had a kid the other day come into my stream telling me that he was 10 years old. You got to be 13 to use to sign up for a Twitch account. That's the rule, but you can't. It's like impossible to actually verify that. Even though Twitch is like a giant company, and I don't think they're trying to have kids using their platform, but sometimes they do. And I banned him because that's really all I can do. Is I was like, see you in a few years, but at the end of the day, like when I was a kid, I bought like bongs and stuff off the internet when I was like 16. and you're not allowed to buy them in shops. And I actually tried to buy one in a shop, and I got ID'd, and I was not old enough, so I was just like left defeated. And then I went home, I went on the internet, and I went onto a website. I used my own debit card that was like, registered to me, a minor, and I bought like bongs and pipes and stuff off the internet because there's no way to, I just lied about what age I was, and they mailed them to my house. I just had to pick them up before my mom got home, and she found them eventually and was not very happy with me. But I'm just saying, like, the Krunker is the least of your worries when it comes to age verification on the internet. There's porn. There's all kinds of, like, somebody could go on to 4chan or Best Gore or something like that and see just some absolutely insane, crazy shit, which is why it comes back to you have to be a parent. You can't just let your kid go online and do whatever. If your kid is old enough to know like what it is to traverse the internet and you've installed that in them, then great, let them. Trust them to do that, and you don't have to worry about any of these things. But if you are worried about some of these things, well, guess what? You're going to have to do a lot more than that, because at the end of the day, the internet is not going to do it for you. It's just not. It's not capable of parenting your child, and monitoring what your kid consumes through the world is not something that people are ever going to be able to program. What parents can do: if you decide to allow your child to play Krunker, we strongly recommend that you actively supervise their play and adjust settings to disable voice chat. Oh, look who would have said that. I actually did not read that before, so kudos to me. If you decide that Krunker isn't right for your child, it's a simple matter to block it entirely. Manage it at your discretion using family zone controls. So this leads in to the real reason why this article exists. Why they're fear-mongering parents. Because I know that they're saying a lot of the same things that I am at the end of the day. But they're doing it in a very specific way to scare parents. Because the ending conclusion that we get is very, very different. And the ending conclusion of my thing is you have to be a parent and do it yourself. They're saying if you let them play, then still don't trust them. Then you supervise. If you decide that Krunker isn't right for your child, well then just block it. Use your family zone controls. Which I'm not saying that never block a website or whatever, but one, there are ways around that, and kids are usually pretty clever about finding them. Two, what's family zone controls? What is this website exactly? So if we go to their home page, they sell software. I think they're taking away a lot of the earnest from the parent to just actually be there, as opposed to and understand it themselves, as opposed to just blocking things and trying to file it all into a software that kind of does this all for them. But the other thing is that you also need to trust your kids. If you're to some degree, I'm not saying just let them do whatever. I'm not saying, and I'm not a parent, so fuck me, right? I don't know what I'm talking about, but it's just craziness. Like, they have all this stuff in here, like track all smart devices and limit social media. There's an idea. Force them to use social media a very limited amount through software, and not through teaching them the virtue of doing things that aren't social media. I'm sure that's easier, is to just force it to happen. But they need to understand why. Otherwise, it's just going to seem like you're a dick. And you don't want that. You don't want an us versus them mentality with your kids. At least I would assume that you wouldn't. So, just like I said, I know that I'm just like a big dumbass who like plays Krunker, and I just kind of am clowning on your article because, you kind of targeted it to sort of manipulate people into buying your very sketchy looking software, might I add. However, if anybody out there who's reading that article non-ironically, then just don't let them fill your head with nonsense, and just try to be there for them. And I'm not telling you something that you don't already know. Be there for them. Just understand the things that they're into, and trust them just enough to where you're not constantly violating their privacy and like having to force them to obey you through software as opposed to just teaching them the virtue of the lesson that you're actually getting behind. And don't drag Krunker into it. Krunker's hype as fuck. Krunker has landed and it's got our kids in the crosshairs. Well, I tell you what, Family Zone. Krunker's got you in its crosshairs. Well, maybe Krunker doesn't, but maybe I do.